Hi folks, it's Richard from Inclusive Driving. The most common reason for failing a driving test, I think you probably know, is observation at junctions, a serious fault for observation. And that's been the case, well, it's been the case pretty much forever. What do you think the most common reason for failing a Part 2 driving instructor test is? So just to bring you up to date here, the Part 2 driving test for trainee driving instructors is the second of the qualifying exams to become qualified. It's essentially an extended driving test with a much stricter threshold for passing or failing. You're allowed to accumulate 6 driving faults rather than 15 for learners. And essentially the examiner is holding you to a much higher professional standard of driving. So what do you think the most common reason for failing that Part 2 test is? Well, I've got 3 answers for you, because the DVSA don't publish statistics on this, or at least none that I can find. So the 3 answers are: number 1, and this answer comes from a very well respected driving instructor trainer from the south of England, and she got her information from one of the examiners who does Part 2 tests. And that answer is that it's not for a serious fault. There are no serious faults during the test generally, but the level of driving is not quite sufficient and the candidate accumulates more than 6 minor faults. What we commonly call them minor faults, we should call them driving faults. So that's one answer. Answer number 2 is from an examiner that I've been speaking to. I'm in central England, and his opinion was the most common reason for failing Part 2 is a serious fault for following distance. So essentially driving too close to the car in front. Answer number 3 though, and this is just from my personal experience of doing Part 2 mock tests, the most common reason that I fail people is a habitual fault. And by that we mean a driving fault, not a serious fault, but a driving fault, which is repeated several times. And so we say it's then a habitual fault, and it's a fundamental problem. So we call it then a serious fault. And that habitual fault is for signal timing when changing lanes on motorways or dual carriageways. There's a tendency for people who have been driving a long time, and this includes trainee driving instructors, to go mirror, signal, go, not allowing enough time for their signal to be seen by the traffic around them. So there's the 3 possible answers. One is accumulation of 6 driving faults, or more than 6 driving faults, but no serious faults. Or it could be a serious fault for insufficient following distance, or in my opinion or my experience, it's a habitual fault for signal timing. Well, I hope that's useful to anyone who is training to be a driving instructor, and we'll see you on another video very soon.